Hi everyone, it's Mariah Rossel with Healing the Betrayed Soul. So thank you so much to everyone that came to the map training workshop this weekend. It was absolutely wonderful to have you there. Thank you for those of you that came on Thursday but weren't able to come for the rest of the weekend. And thanks for those of you that tuned in to our Facebook Live on Thursday night. Sorry, the audio quality wasn't very good. That's definitely something we'll work on in the future. So one of the things, one of the parts of the map training workshop is it's Thursday evening, all day Friday evening rather, all day Saturday, and then Sunday we do a sweat lodge, because the sweat lodge is a vital component of the way that the map is designed and that map training works. And so it's a really special, unique workshop. And so we had the sweat lodge yesterday on Sunday, and it is a traditional Lakota lodge. And so one of the things about traditional Lakota lodges is that women on their moon time are not allowed near the sacred medicines. And so that was my experience this weekend. And so while I've been working in the Lakota ways for quite a while, it is always something that pulls at my heartstrings when I want to pray with my community and I cannot because of what's going on in my body. And I understand the energies and the pulls and all of those things, and yet there's still that little voice inside of me that gets sad and lonely. And so I had a number of hours sitting out, praying outside in the snow, that beautiful snow, thunder, lightning storm that we had, praying outside, freezing my butt off, while everybody was inside the lodge praying. And I had these moments where it came, these moments of loneliness, and every time I was like, I'm feeling lonely. And then that's when I said, okay, I need to pray harder. And those were the moments when I started to hear the sacred drum beating inside the lodge. And it was like the heartbeat of my community calling me home. And I was reminded of the workshop. Thank you everybody for that's tuning in. This is awesome. But I was reminded during the workshop how we were talking about one of the things that the shadow does is the shadow isolates us. The shadow likes us to be lonely, because when we're isolated, because when we're lonely, that's when it can start to have its trickster energy. That's when the illusions can really come in. And this is not to say don't take quiet time, don't have silent time. Those of you that know me really well know that I'm actually a pretty strong introvert. I may talk a lot, I may get out into my community, but I recharge by spending a lot of time alone, and that's really good. So alone time is not what I'm talking about, and I'm not saying that introverts are overtaken by the shadow, so don't take that the wrong way. But when the shadow can isolate us, then we don't have a community to help us understand where the shadow has the stranglehold on us. Because when the shadow has us deep in the illusions of the shadow, we don't understand it, you know? We don't know when we have our addictions. We don't know when we're having problems. This is why having a mentor, having a teacher, having community is so important, because the shadow serves to separate us. No longer are we, drinking socially, but now we're drinking alone. Or no longer are we doing whatever we're doing in community. We now feel like the shadow comes out and it says, well, I can't be me in front of my community. So now I'm hiding, now I'm lying, and now I'm running away from all of it. And so that's how the shadow keeps its stranglehold on us, is by keeping us isolated. And this goes to this idea of in Lakesh that I love to look at. So in Lakesh means you are a mirror of me. And so when I look at you, then I see me. And one of the things the shadow likes to do is say, I don't like you. I'm going to push you away. I'm going to call you toxic. I'm going to run away from you. I'm going to call you names. I'm going to judge you. But when we look at this in this idea of in Lakesh, you being a mirror of me, as soon as I say any of those things about you, I'm saying those exact same things about me. When I judge you, I judge me. When I hate you, I hate me. And so looking at this sacred idea of in Lakesh, how do I say, when I look at you and I don't like what I see, instead of pushing that away, get curious and say, where do I find that within me? How is that true within me? How am I finding these parts that I don't love out there within me? And that hurts, and it's not fun to do, but that's where the work is. And the shadow loves shame, so the shame is the place in us where we say that I am not worthy of being loved. And so the shame creates our personality. And the personality is now reinforced when what we do makes others push us away. And then we say, oh, I guess I really am not loved because the external world is reacting to my shame in the same way that my internal world is. And so I was actually speaking to a friend this weekend who gave me this idea of holding a sacred prayer ceremonial space where you could judge the person next to you as being evil, so you're judging them as being evil or bad or whatever you're judging them as. And all you can do in this space is just sit there and give them love. Don't judge them, give them love. And this isn't to say enable people. This isn't saying, oh, well, you have bad behavior. It's not going to be addressed. There's something that's caustic, that's something that's bad in behavior, that's hurtful. This isn't saying that you're going to stay in an abusive relationship. Obviously, start with the healthy boundary of self-love first. Take care of yourself. If you're in an unhealthy, unsafe situation, take care of that, step one. Then you can help take care of the other person. And it's also, what is the increasing amount of time you can actually spend in relationship with that thing that makes you uncomfortable? And exploring that within yourself in as safe of a way as possible. And so again, we're not saying it's okay for people to have this socially inappropriate behavior. We're not saying it's okay to hurt people, for people to hurt. But how can we hold that tension long enough with this relationship with this person where we can get our own medicine, where we can get our own healing by saying, okay, I'm judging you, and it's not just you, because anything that's within is without. Anything that's outside of me is within me. So how can I sit and hold this tension with you long enough to follow the vibration of that energy that I see within you that I'm having a hard time resonating with, and following that back into the center of my soul to find where it is within me. And now I can deal with it within me. I can't deal with you. I can't deal with your energy. I can't make your energy change. I might be able to point it out. I may be able to coach you, guide you, mentor you. But ultimately, that's your choice. But what I can do is I can say, in Lakesh, you are a mirror of me. So you are mirroring what's in me. I can follow that energy within me and I can deal with it there. I can heal it there. And when I do that, not only am I refusing to feed the shadow's love of isolation by saying, you're not worthy of my love, I'm going to push you away and isolate you. But I'm also confronting the shadow by saying, I see you showing up in that other person. And therefore, I'm curious of how you're also showing up in me. Because anytime this shadow has stranglehold on anyone, it has a stranglehold on all of us in a similar way. And that's why these people keep showing up in our lives, is because the shadow is interacting in both of our spirits in the same way. And so this is a teaching tool for me to look within and heal myself, and look in them and help them heal. And so by working together and continuing to do this, and it might be a little bits at a time. There's those people, you're like, I couldn't spend more than 5 minutes with them. Okay, that's great. Spend 5 minutes with them. Maybe next time you can spend 5.5 minutes with them. And then in 3 years, you're up to half an hour that you want to spend with this person, or you're able to. And so just little bits of growth. But every time we do this growth, every time we're able to say, and also don't do this. So this is one of the big things I've heard people reflect back with like all the school shooting things going on. Don't say, oh, well, you know, you're that weird kid we think might be the school shooter, so I'm going to befriend you superficially and make sure you're not going to shoot up the school. No, have this relationship time with these people that make you uncomfortable, these situations, these scenarios, these geographical locations, whatever it is, that makes you uncomfortable, and do it in that open-hearted love. Do it in the, I'm curious and I'm loving, not I'm doing this because I have to. Nobody wants to have time spent with them because you have to. That feels even more isolating than you completely ignoring them. So when you choose to use your experiences of others as a learning experience, do it of curiosity and love. And do it as long as you can maintain unconditional love and curiosity. And as soon as it's no longer unconditional love, as soon as it's no longer curious, as soon as it turns into a sense of obligation, that's when you gracefully say, thank you for your time, and depart. And so that's the biggest key, is we're not trying to force this, but we're trying to open ourselves to allow for the learning to occur. So not only are we learning ourselves, but now we're starting to see, I am no different than you. And when I am no longer different than you, and we are the same, we're working on the same thing, we have the same inner soul, inner wisdom, inner love, then we start to break down the barriers of isolation. We start to break down the judgment and the guilt and the fear and all of these things and say, I honor you as human. I love you as human. And let's start from there. And then you can take that inward and say, I love those parts of me too. And that's the biggest thing about self-love. Self-love is every moment saying, I love all of the parts of me. Maybe I don't understand all of them, but I love them, and I'm not going to run the story that they're not deserving of my love. And so if you can kind of play around with that and see how this helps you come out of your isolation and helps you connect with people on a greater level, and starts to see that you kind of start to break down the barriers between you and me, when you start to see you are another mirror of me. And when you start to say, anything that's frustrating me in you is frustrating me in me, and doing it in a helpful way, really keeping those boundaries clear. And again, number one step, start with self-love, because if you're not fully in self-love, if you're not fully having these healthy boundaries, and you're in a place where it's dangerous, then that's not loving yourself, that's not respecting yourself. That's going to create your own sense of isolation, because now you turn yourself into a victim, and victims are inherently isolated. They're inherently lonely. And so, yeah, it was a wonderful workshop this weekend. So thank you everybody for came. Thank you everybody for tuning in just now. And if you liked the video, please like it and leave some comments, and I will keep doing wonderful videos for you guys. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.